Hello everyone, Pallytime here, and welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. We have our party formed, at least for right now. Our Githyanki Monk, Clark, as well as Gale, Shadowheart, and Astarion, joining him on the roadside cliff waypoint. This is where he picked up Gale at the end of the last episode. Well, because these guys joined our party late, they are able to level up now. So we'll start today's episode with doing that. As Astarion hits level 2 as a rogue, he's going to gain 7 more HP as well as some bonus actions. He can bonus action hide, dash, and disengage, and still do a normal action on that turn. Now, as Gale levels up, this is going to get a little more interesting because he picks his subclass here at this level. I was thinking about transmutation because I was planning on doing some crafting in this series. I've always wanted to be an illusion wizard, but I don't really know if I like the way illusions play in this game. So for me, personally, that leaves enchantment. This is going to give us the hypnotic gaze action where we can charm and incapacitate a creature. It cannot attack you and it cannot act, but the condition will end upon them taking damage. My vision for Gale is that he's going to be an AoE control specialist and an AoE damage dealer specialist. I mean, we're not evocation, but we'll still be able to throw a few fireballs. For our spells, I'm going to take Longstrider as well as probably Shield, I'm thinking, to not only enable our entire party to move more, but also mitigate some of the damage that we have coming towards us. As far as our prepared spells go, let's do Shield, Fog, Grease, and then maybe Thunderwave and Mage Armor. Notice I did not take Longstrider. That was on purpose. The reason for that is it's not like the tabletop game where you swap out spells when you rest. We could swap out spells whenever we want. So all we do is select Gale and then decide we want Longstrider instead of Shield. Cast this for a moment. There we go, Longstrider. This is a ritual, so we can cast it as much as we want. We can put it on all of our party members, and it will last for the entire day. After we're done casting this on everyone, all we do is press K one more time, swap out Longstrider, and swap in a new spell that we might want to use. And it's that easy. Instead, you know what? Instead of Thunderwave, I'm going to take Shield there, and we'll use Witch Bolt as our main damaging spell. If we even cast a damaging spell. For the foreseeable future, that may be difficult to do. We only have 3 spell slots, so we'll see how that goes. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me today. This should be a pretty efficient episode. We need to get respecking unlocked for our party because I have a very, very specific plan for Astarion that I feel like I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of. So we need to get that done. So that means we need to get inside of this building. There are a ton of ways of doing this. And in fact, before the game fully released, I was thinking about making a video dedicated to this location. Because there are so many ways that you can break into this building, talk your way into this building, fight your way into this building. We're going to have Astarion approach. He's going to be our party's face, at least for the foreseeable future. And he's going to see what these guys are talking about.
Twice as tall as me, but have half the bloody backbone. But we don't know what that thing even is. And what about the crypt?
I'm telling you, it's a ship. And the crypt can wait. Mari and Barton have been trying to break in for days. Now we... Stop!
Hey!
Got ourselves competition already. That's our ship.
Well, in fact, it's a nautiloid ship. I don't think you own it at all. I do like this one quite a lot. Now, we have a +2 on all of our charisma rolls, so persuasion and deception would both go very well. However, intimidation, just grin, baring your fangs. So Astarion just walks out of the wilderness, walks up on these two as they're having an intense conversation. And then we just walk up smiling with vampire fangs. We have advantage on this. We need to roll a 10. We roll a 18. That'll do it. We're going to ignore the other one.
Well, in that case, come on, you lot. No point in getting killed. Second worm gets the cheese and all.
Second mouse gets the cheese, no?
Nobody's getting any damn cheese. Now move it!
Well, it seems as though we were able to talk our way through the guards on the top of this place. Now we could break the door down. We could try to speak with someone on the other side of the door. I have a feeling I want to take a more creative route in here, though. We're going to shoot the coiled roof above, dropping the stone and breaking a hole into the floor here. Now, this is no longer going to be a stealthy entrance into this place because we just made a lot of noise. But that's okay. We're going to have our entire party go down into the depths of this area. Right as we do that, the door in front of us swings open as the rest of the raider party that was down here begins to approach. However, Astarion at the start of the turn order, and these guys, well, unfortunately for them, all decided to surround an oil barrel. So we're going to take a half step to the right, line up a firebolt, which Astarion has, and fire that off at the oil barrel to start off this combat. That took care of most of the people in the next room. With the rest of our turn, we're just going to move up and close the door. This person has a ranged weapon out, so we don't have to worry about an attack of opportunity or anything. And I think that's going to do it for my turn. I think that was pretty good, starting things off with Astarion. Now, unfortunately, they opened the door. If I had a melee weapon out, I would have opportunity'd them, so that was a bit of a misplay. And they are coating their weapon on the far side of the room. Now, on Clark, this is what I could do. I could do a Step of the Wind dash as my bonus action. That is going to use one of my key points, but that's going to allow me to enter to the next room with quite a lot of speed. And I'm going to use that speed to just reach this person and give them a quick clobber because I do not want them pulling that lever. And then what Clark's going to do is just take cover behind this piece of stone. The burning damage was too much for Barton, who dies on the floor very soon after. We're going to see Shadowheart approach, and if she can cast Sacred Flame onto the wizard in that room, they only need 1 point of damage before they are taken down. Let's see if Gale can do it. Looked like it was about to be interrupted, but Firebolt is off and deals 4 damage. Pretty explosive way of clearing out that combat encounter, but hey, pretty efficient too. I like that. What we have for loot in here, a little bit of gold, leather armor. I can't wear this on Clark. I don't imagine Astarion really wants that either. I don't know if there's too much of note here. We can get some leather boots. Pick that up, pick up some leather gloves. Now, you do need to be careful as you are equipping things as a monk, because if any of this gear counted as armor, we would start to see our armor class fall. Our armor class is based off of our wisdom modifier as well as our dexterity modifier, which we have a 16 in wisdom and a 17 in dexterity, respectively. Sorry, I said that backwards at first. These guys are normally like looting this place. They are deep inside of this room, kind of exploring the nooks and crannies of all of these bookshelves. But because we had such an explosive entrance, they grouped up nice and tidy for us. Also, I don't know why I was being selective. I'm just going to loot everything, and we're going to sell literally everything in town, every opportunity we get. I'm going to need a lot of money. Lever on the wall opens up the next area. We're going to Control-C with our entire party and get right behind this guy. You could speak to him through the door here, and he basically decides whether or not he's going to gain you entry. There's some charisma checks. You could try to lie to the guy or intimidate him. I imagine intimidating someone through a door would be a little difficult. We're going to start this off with a flurry of blows. Only one of them connecting. We do have a surprise round, so I'm going to swing one more time. And that was a critical hit. That'll do it. That'll do it. He's down. There's also a bunch of food in here that I'm going to loot really fast. We are definitely going to need some camp supplies for this run as well. Now, our next spot we need to get to is behind this door on the western side of the inner workings of this hallway. There are a couple ways of opening this. We could try to pick the lock with Astarion. I could try to bash it down, which I don't think is working either. But if we venture into this room on the other side of this statue, there may be a perception check that we can pass. Now, if we pull that lever, it opens up that door. And depending on the path that you take to get into this place, you may wind up on the other side of this door trying to figure out a way to open it from here. Step forward. Now, this was the main place that we were trying to get into. If you look to the south, that door is accessible from the outside where you normally find Shadowheart. But we are trying to go to the north. However, this door is locked. Do I have a key? And we do not have a key. Is the key in this side of the room? Here, I'm going to... Clark has the highest wisdom modifier, so he should have the best perception checks. And as I say that, we find a trap in that room. To help our odds, I'm going to cast guidance onto Clark. That's going to last 10 turns, but then I'm going to separate him from the party and just do a quick lap of the room. And we're starting to see some traps very obviously, but other traps not as obvious. In the middle of the room, there is a sarcophagus. I don't know if I have to do a strength check to open this. Let's find out. The trap has been triggered. We are going to loot it anyway. We get an engraved key, as well as the Watcher's Guide. When the spear misses the target, the wielder's next attack roll against the target gains True Strike. Nice. The trap has been triggered. We are on turn-based mode right now, which is why you don't see anything happening. I have two options right now. I could try to run towards my party and make it out of this room, or I could push the button behind me, which would disable the trap. The other part of the trap is already set in motion, though, as grease is starting to ooze out of the vents all around the room. I do not have a bonus action, it seems, or at least, I don't have any key points. That's the main problem. So let's main action dash, and we're going to RP this as Clark's insane reaction speed. Like, he heard the click, he grabbed the loot, and he ran this way, all within a second of combat. Let's turn off turn-based mode. That's what I was about to be stuck in if we didn't react in time. Well, with the key in hand, we're going to regather the party and move this way. I'm also going to drink one of my potions. That's going to give me 9 HP and have me healed back up to full. Didn't want to use a spell slot for that. I'm going to try to avoid using spell slots when I really don't need to, at least for right now. As we enter this room, the first thing we begin to notice is a large assortment of bodies spread across the room. An entombed scribe, entombed scribe, entombed scribe, as well as an entombed warrior, are strewn about the room, seemingly at random. Can we learn anything about this statue?
No sign of a struggle. That's Jurgle, scribe of the dead. I didn't think anyone still worshipped him.
Very odd that my Githyanki knew that, but Jurgle, scribe of the dead. I'm going to take a quick second to go around the room and just check out these bodies. Weapon on this one. We'll go ahead and take that. What's my carry weight? We're kind of getting at the high end of our carry weight, but most of this is going to be sold the second we find a vendor. That last body had a key on it. Don't know what that is for. Is this all in partial darkness? Yeah, we can kind of see in here. I believe I've looted all of the skeletons on the ground. And just spotted a button on the north side of this room. Before we push that button, I am going to have Clark kind of stand up there at the top of the room. Lae'zel stand right about there. Astarion's going to take up a vantage point over here by that tube scribe. And now Gale's going to wander off into the corner. What happens when we push the button? Wait, did he not see the button? As the button is struck, the undead begin to rise around the room. I used that as a thumbnail last time. That was a good thumbnail. This is a perfect fight for Clark Because if you take a look at the stats of these undead skeletons, bludgeoning damage against this entity is doubled. We have a staff that deals bludgeoning damage. If we unequipped our staff, our punch does bludgeoning damage. So we're going to start with the swing. That first swing does take the target down. Then Clark is going to attempt to move to the back end of the room, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it the entire way. And I don't have any key points to use for any more bonus actions. So one thing that might be worth it, unless it takes an action to do this, and it might, I don't know, but let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay, I just did it anyway. Let's go ahead and punch. Okay, that wasn't worth it. Get your dagger back. It still would have been better to sneak attack this guy, but hey, live and learn. I didn't know that. Clark is done because he can't reach the target. Gale, on the other hand, will begin to move forward. I don't know if undead can be hypnotized, but I've never cast Hypnotic Gaze before. It's a melee range ability. Very interesting. I could potentially put some grease down on this guy. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. If I can, I'd like to use some movement to get up there, but it's not looking too good. So I'm going to just fire off Firebolt at the Entombed Warrior. We'll try to help our Shadowheart, who also has a blunt weapon, so she should be pretty good here. She's going to swing on the Entombed Warrior. That swing was doing great work, and then I'm going to push and just try to block this guy in here. I assume that he is going to try to run for Gale because that's what I would do in this situation. So we're putting Shadowheart in between him for an attack of opportunity, hopefully. Unarmed strike on Shadowheart, critical hit only does 1 damage, but we see the scribes begin to move. Critical miss as one fires off. A Ray of Frost on Clark. What's this guy in the middle thinking about doing? A silence being put on Shadowheart. That was a smart move. We see another attack of opportunity from Astarion, as he also gets hit by a Ray of Frost. Well, this guy unfortunately did not move far enough, and we are going to see Clark close in that gap and swing with his staff, connecting for 22 damage. We're then going to move closer to the other scribe at the top of the room. Astarion does not have a melee weapon equipped, so he's just going to come over here and he's going to start swinging, and we're going to box this guy into the corner as well. If they are threatened, they have disadvantage on any ranged attacks. Like this scribe right here, you see that threatened status? And that just means that we have an enemy close to them, which is perfect. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Gale on his turn is going to continue to focus the... You know what? I think Shadowheart can just kill this guy. Let's see. She swings. It connects for 10 damage. That target is dead. She cannot jump up to the area above her. That's a little too much to ask. But we'll start running her up that way. Meanwhile, Gale is going to cast a fire bolt onto the Entombed Scribe. Bit of a weird angle there, if you ask me. And then use the rest of his movement to just get a little closer to this wall. I don't want to climb up because I don't want to give that guy vision, but I want to be in an area where I can climb up next turn to help. Now we see the scribe move towards Clark and invoke an attack of opportunity all on his own. Didn't even have to do anything there. Another attack of opportunity as the Entombed Scribe moves past Astarion, who then takes 9 damage from a Ray of Frost to the chest. Clark moves in and finishes off another of the scribe. Astarion lunges forward with a swing, but misses his attack. He's going to try to push. With that push, can Clark move in and end the fight? No, we cannot. Gale's going to move up to the high ground and use his newfound range to fire off a fire bolt at the enemy. Remember, these guys have already been looted. We're going to use one of our short rests to catch Astarion's health back up to the rest of the party. And then check out this room that was just opened. Inside of the heavy chest, a very, very useful amulet, especially for the early game, the Amulet of Lost Voices. This will allow us to speak with dead. And also a Ray of Enfeeblement. They deal half damage with weapon-based attacks using strength. These scrolls, I held on to way too many of them in the last playthrough, but one thing that's even cooler about them now that we have a wizard is Gale could learn that spell permanently. I wanted to take a second and really stare at this room when we came back this time. Those of you that saw the end of our playthrough know exactly why. Not seeing anything too out of the ordinary. But let's interact with this richly adorned sarcophagus here.
So he has spoken, and so thou standest before me, right as always. What a curious way to awaken. Now, I have a question for thee. What is the worth of a single mortal's life?
I can't answer that, oddly enough.
Curiosity. Nothing more.
That's very weird.
Wilt thou answer my question?
It's almost like we asked him why he was asking that. Yes, ask away. He already asked the question. Pay attention, Clark.
So, I ask again, what is the worth of a single mortal life?
The Githyanki one, a life is only valuable in service to Vlaakith. Well. That does seem fitting for this one. Mortal lives are not single. They are part of a greater whole, a path to enlightenment. I think that's what Clark would believe. Let's go for it.
Few strive for such balance. Fewer still achieve it. Very well. I am satisfied. We have met, and I know thy face. We will see each other again at the proper time and place. Farewell.
It's a little cryptic, isn't it? Just bring that guy out of a crypt. And then he says he's going to see me again. Well, Withers is actually going to follow us throughout the entire game. And if you never got this NPC before, then, whoa, you're missing out. He does so much stuff. He allows you to respec. You can gain mercenaries from this guy. And, well, I mean, that's only scratching the surface. I don't want to spoil too much. We're going to leave this place just by clicking on this lever on the eastern side of the cave that opens up. It'll lead us back up to the top. And, well, I think we have enough time to pick up one other adventurer. From here, we're just running west, not quite back to where that teleporter was, which was kind of that way, I think. We're instead going to turn north along this path. And along this path, we see two tieflings looking at a Githyanki inside of a cage.
One of them carved them. Zoru was right. Yellow as a toad and twice as ugly.
Not yellow.
The thing's dangerous. Leave it for the goblins to kill.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare. Her lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them. Holy hells! Another one.
Time, no, mister.
Oh man, they're just coming out and trying to attack me. Wow, they don't. That's kind of fitting from a tiefling, isn't it? They're always like, oh, people think we're demons. They don't get to know us. And here are the demons attacking any Githyanki they don't understand on sight. If you value your life, walk away. I'm not good at charisma. We only need a 5 to roll this. We have guidance as well. We rolled a 2. Oh, well.
Not happening. Demaze, now.
It's self-defense then. Even better. Well, here we go. Astarion is at the top of the whoop. Okay, he's going to do a ranged sneak attack because I did not put his weapon back on. In order to do that, we're going to need someone in melee close by, so we'll move up here first. That'll allow him to do the sneak attack. Pop goes the weasel, 13 damage. We're going to follow that up with a nice swing here with our staff, and then follow that up again with a flurry of blows. Because we did a short rest, that gave me my key points back, and we can continue the onslaught. Now, on his turn, we are going to see Gale move up. So this is an interesting spot in the turn order. If we stop Nymessa from attacking with a hypnotic gaze, I can only do this once per long rest, but I've never seen it. I want to see it. Not enough movement to get there. I forgot it was melee again. That's going to be difficult to do. There are other spells in the same kind of vein as this that we're going to be able to pick up later. But for now, let's just Firebolt. My main goal over the course of this playthrough is to get better at magic. We're going to have a lot of it in our party. Just because I feel like I understand the melee portion of the game very, very well. Well enough. Hamstring shot onto Clark and a shove, pushing him out of melee range so she can then move without triggering an attack of opportunity. That was a pretty good play. We are going to try to do a Sacred Flame onto Nymessa. We hit for 5 damage, and that will end Shadowheart's turn. Astarion's going to move up to the top of the dirt mound here as Clark is moving forward. We're going to see a sneak attack come out. That sneak attack hits for 12 damage. And then I'm going to look over at Astarion and be like, hey, bro, I don't have a ranged weapon. And as Astarion is acknowledging that, he's just going to re-equip his melee weapon as well. We can let Lae'zel down by shooting the wood at the base of this away. And
the tadpole hasn't yet scrambled all your senses. Auspicious. But the longer we wait, the more it consumes. You will join me. We must find a creche. Our people possess the cure for this infection.
Careful. She obviously sees your kindness as weakness. Don't let her take advantage.
Hey, shut up. What are you talking about? Locating the creche would be wise indeed. Where might we find one? Oh, I like this one too. I welcome our alliance, kin. We will seek out a creche. I like both of these. I feel like this is more inviting for Lae'zel. Like, I'm so glad you're here. You're Githyanki just like me. Let's do number 3.
You are full up. Dismiss your weakest warrior.
Wait at my camp, we can speak there.
Very well, but heed my words. The Horned Ones mentioned a camp. One there, this Zoru, has seen Githyanki. A creche must be near. I must interrogate this Zoru. Our very lives depend on it. I will be at your camp. Do not keep me waiting.
And in the very next episode, we are going to do exactly that. Head towards Zoro and see what we can learn. For now, let's head back to camp. We are going to check in with Shadowheart and why did it ping? We're going to check in with Shadowheart and let her know that I think you should probably stay at camp for a little while.
Lae'zel has a dangerous look in her eyes. Let's just hope she reserves those impulses for any common foes.
But before I tell her to stay here, what's the story on that little artifact you have, Shadowheart?
There's no story. None that you're entitled to hear, anyway. Just forget you ever saw it.
I don't know if I can forget. I don't know if I can forget that, man. Okay, we should journey separately for now. I'll look for you here when I need you again.
If you're sure.
And I have the perfect plan for Shadowheart in the future, don't you worry.
I'll be here whenever you rediscover your taste in company.
I think I discovered my taste in company just fine.
Chatter already? Tuskee.
I don't know what Tuskee means, but I'm going to start saying it. From which creche do you hail, Lae'zel?
I was trained on Creche Kalir, among the tears of Selûne. Of this place, I know all too little.
Well, I'd like you to join me. We can learn more about it together.
It is done.
Now, as Lae'zel joins our party, she's going to be brought up to level 2. She's going to gain 8 HP, as well as one of the most iconic abilities in the game. This is Action Surge. This is going to allow her to perform a second action on her turn. Very simply, at this early in the game, she can attack once, Action Surge, and then attack again. Very, very cool. And now that Lae'zel is officially in the party fully, we are going to give her the Everburn Blade that we got from the commander in the last episode. That is going to take her damage from, what is she doing on her current weapon? 4 to 13 and make it 6 to 19. On top of that, every attack doing a little bit of fire damage for some extra flavor. That's going to burn very bright in her hands. Now, that is a great sword, two-handed weapon, but I think she will wield it very, very well. Now, for my unfinished business with Astarion. Do I have enough gold to do this? I think I have just enough. We're going to go up to Withers.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded.
Not sure how to take that.
I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services.
Perfect. What kind of services do you offer?
A mending of the threads between life and death. Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more.
You mentioned a cost. How much of a cost is it?
A matter of coin.
Can you help me change my class? So rezzing someone is 200. Respecking is 100.
As thou desire.
So we're going to change Astarion from a rogue. I know. But we're going to turn him into a bard. I have watched the one-shot campaign of the voice actors for the main characters playing through a D&D session. And I gotta say, the more I listen to Astarion, the more I think he is really a bard all along. And he's going to be, arguably, the strongest support character in my party if things go my way. His cantrips are going to be Vicious Mockery, followed by Minor Illusion. Then we're going to pick up Healing Word, Fairy Fire, Disguise Self, and Cure Wounds. Very healing focused, at least at the beginning. Maybe I don't need the Cure Wounds. Maybe that's a little overkill. But I think this is a decent start. Our instrument is going to be a violin, and our ability score is 16 dexterity, as well as 17 charisma being our two highest stats, constitution following at 14, and then just kind of low on everything else. I mean, I might be able to get one more constitution there, but I'm not super worried about that. He has a dagger already, which I think is just a simple weapon that he can already use. We also have Bardic Inspiration, inspire an ally, and add a bonus to their next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, and we can kind of use that at our leisure. As we continue to level up, we will get more uses of this, which will be really, really cool. I've never played a bard before. It was one of the early access classes I missed out on, so I'm really excited to dive into this for Astarion. Let's go ahead and confirm that level up and then see what we get at level 2. I don't think it'll be too much. Maybe another spell slot or something. 17 more HP. We have more spell slots. We also gain the Jack of all trades. Your vast experience makes you more likely to succeed on any undertaking. Add half of your proficiency, rounded down to ability checks you are not proficient in. Astarion's been alive a very long time. So, I mean, it comes to reason that he'd picked up a few skills along the way. We also get the Song of Rest, which is going to give us another short rest in the form of a song and a new spell. What do we want? Dissonant Whispers seems pretty cool for a vampire. You have a chance to fear the target, and they have a disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while that is going on. It's a wisdom save, so they have to fail the save first. But even if they don't, it still deals half damage, which could be pretty good. And with that, our real party is assembled. Get used to these faces. You're going to be seeing them for a while. We might swap people in and out here and there, but these are going to be the main driving forces for our campaign. Next episode, we're going to see if we can find the person that Lae'zel mentioned that might know more information about the Githyanki Creche. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We'll be back again very soon, so make sure you're subscribed to see more. Thank you, guys. Take care. See you next time.